I stated this on Friday when they lost. I feel like NC State's season in a nutshell was fun as hell that eventually ran out of steam. And at some point where NC State really kind of made its hay in January and early February of having one key guy not on, but others would step up, it almost felt like down the stretch it was just one guy. It reverted back to one guy that really had to carry him. In the Duke loss at Cameron Indoor Stadium, where Duke had really started to turn the corner, it was Jarkel Joyner who was literally trying to keep him in that game with an otherworldly last 5 minutes of a ball game at Cameron Indoor Stadium. And in this game against Creighton, with DJ Burns essentially neutralized Jarkel Joyner off, it was Terquavion Smith who had to do everything possible to keep NC State in this game. Here's Kevin Keatts reflecting on the year that was in Raleigh.
Super proud of my team. I mean, this is when you look at where we were at last year to where we're at now, and how hard our guys worked, and you know what a season we had with 23 wins and guys playing their butts off, and guys like Jarkel Joyner and the other transfers, and the guys like Terquavion Smith who decided to come back means a lot to us in our program. I thought those guys completely fought the entire year. We did some really good stuff. We're going to walk out here with our head up, continue to build, and keep, pushing this program in the right direction.
So that's Kevin Keatts, NC State's basketball coach, after they got beat by Creighton on Friday. You called this one, Joe. You didn't like the matchup against Creighton, and it played out that way on Friday.
Yeah, it's a shame, too, because Creighton didn't shoot the ball well from three. Mm-hmm. And then you saw what Creighton ended up doing to Baylor. That's what Creighton really looks like. So they did have a chance to beat Creighton on Friday afternoon. I thought the altitude bothered them a little bit. The early fouls to Quavion Smith, they just seemed a little bit off. Mm-hmm. And then Jarkel not shooting well obviously hurt them. But I don't think people are giving the people who are upset, right? 6 years, Kevin Keatts, no NCAA tournament wins. Right. They've been twice, I think those people who are upset don't realize how hard this year was. Mm-hmm. Like, they were last place last year. Mm-hmm. They were bad. And there's a lot of pressure on a team in that spot. Even if the AD is sitting there telling you, even if the contract is sitting here telling you, oh, we're not going to fire him, we're not going to fire him, we're not going to fire him. There's pressure because you want to respond. And to not even get into that protocol really at any point this year. Mm-hmm. To have the bounce back in the way they did, to go from 21 losses, which is a school record, to 23 wins, that was a big step. Now the question is, can you take another step? I do think a lot of the same players will be back. Obviously, they're going to have to replace Jarkel Joyner and Terquavion Smith. Terquavion Smith's going to be a first-round pick in the NBA draft. Jarkel Joyner is out of eligibility. So now you have to go into the portal and, again, apply what you learned from the previous year. Don't guess. Don't guess. Show these guards, who are now going to have Casey Morsell as a support role, Jack Clark support role, DJ Burns likely will be back as their big man. So you don't have to do a whole lot of changing. You just have to hit it right in the portal again in the guards that you bring in.
Yeah, and that's we're making it sound like hitting in the portal is an easy thing to do.
It's not.
It's not, but this is something that you and I have talked about. I know I stressed this last year. I felt like Kevin Keatts was a year late making staff changes, okay? I thought I felt like we already kind of saw where things were headed, and you have to be 2 steps ahead, not just one.
Or at least one.
And one, given that the AD and the administration is going to give you an opportunity. I felt like you got to think 2 steps ahead to even get to that point. But Boo Corrigan and Kevin Keatts has been open about this. They had a conversation very similar to the one that Boo Corrigan had with Dave Dorn at NC State, and you saw the staff changes there. So I felt like the staff changes were a year late. And to your point about going out and getting transfers, you got to hit on the transfers. Don't take a guess. Go get a guy who's been productive and then bring him into the fold and have that hopefully play out. So, and the reason why this is kind of the discussion we're having with NC State and Kevin Keatts is it doesn't look like he's going anywhere. The administration's not moving on.
Right.
They're not moving on. There was some speculation that maybe Kevin Keatts moves on. Georgetown kept coming up as a program that he has an eye on, or he'd made it known that he'd be interested in the Georgetown job. Well, that job's wrapped. It's been Ed Cooley's job to say no to, and he didn't say no. He said yes, and that's where the news comes out today. So that's why, I think it was on Saturday morning, I tweeted out, look, it's really on Keatts to kind of keep this going and build at NC State, given the chance that he had this past year. He did it. I think you can look at it as a reset. Now, what do you do with that reset? If they don't make the NCAA tournament next year, if they fail to make the moves in the transfer portal, well, then maybe we have this ultimate conversation. But I think that this past year proved, okay, hit the reset. We were successful. Now it's a matter of building on that success. As you said, it was really, really hard to go from like dead last to what they did. Now that you did it, build on it, see where you go after that. The administration, I think, is going to give him that opportunity. It's whether or not Kevin Keatts wants to stick around for that. I think that's been, you and I have been on the same page with that. That's ultimately his call, given how the coaching carousel plays out.